Hello, welcome to Soulprint Intuitive Tarot. My name is Cyndy. Thank you so very, very much for being here. I really do appreciate all of the support, the comments to my new subscribers. Welcome, welcome. And of course, to my established ones, I adore you. Okay, so I'm recording this actually late Monday night, which is unusual for me, but you're going to be seeing this on July 11th, on Tuesday morning, just like always. So there's a couple just housekeeping things I want to sort of just deal with. First of all, I'm going to do in this video, I'm going to do 3 minis. I want to take a look at Bannon and Jim Jordan, and we'll check in again on the guy. So I am not likely to release any more videos this week. If I do, it will be in the latter part of this week. For my established viewers, as you know, my sister passed away very suddenly at the end of the year. And this week we are having the inurnment and, sort of luncheon. I have visitors here from Ontario. So it's just kind of busy, and my focus needs to be on my family. And I know that you are all sending me your love and support, and I thank you so very much. I have been on the receiving end when you guys start blasting your love and attention and focus on me and my family, and it is remarkable. So thank you in advance, because I just know it's coming my way. All right. Also, last week, I was sort of doing a consult with a guy by the name of John Irving. He is an astrologer. I think he's in Nova Scotia, actually. He has a channel called Aquarian Diary. Okay. And he doesn't do political videos, I don't think, but he does, the transit and that kind of thing. It's very interesting, offering that he has. So, as you know, I'm not a huge fan of, two people getting together and doing a video. It's not my best thing. But in the middle of this sort of consultation that we were having, he said, he asked a question, and it's so easy to shift off into tangents. And so we started talking, and he wanted to know about the, 3, 4, 5 dimension shift that's going on and what that looks like, and why isn't it happening already, and can't we just get it done? To which I think everybody agrees with him, but it's not going to be that way. In any case, so we had this like 10 or 15 minute conversation about this ascension stuff that's going on. And we got to the end of it, and he said, wow, this would actually make a really good video to put out. And so I got my permission and everything. And so that video is actually being released, not on this channel, but on Aquarian Diaries. And it literally is just a conversation between the two of us. But there were some things that were said during the conversation that if you are, interested in those shifts and what's going on and what it feels like, you might want to just give it a quick listen to. He's very easy to understand. And he has a depth to what he does. So the link will be in the bottom, in the little box under here. All right. I think that's all the rambling I'm going to do. For anybody who sends me an email, if you're looking for a private reading, that kind of thing, my response this week might be slightly slower than in other weeks. I will try to stay on top of it. And you'll hear from me. It might take a couple of days, but you'll hear back from me. And if you are wanting a private reading, in the notes below is an email address, soulprint888@gmail.com. Just send me an email saying you want information on everything, and I will get that out to you. Okay. I want to focus. Let's look at Jim Jordan. So last week, Jim Jordan had I think, probably a bit of a hiccup because the court said that, in fact, the case of the sexual assault cases um, pertaining to the young men that he was coaching, that lawsuit is going through. And, whether he likes it or not, he's going to be put in the spotlight. His, I don't know, willful disregard, his deciding that looking the other way was a better choice, I guess. That's going to come back and bite him. It hasn't really left. It's always kind of circling around him. And I understand, I heard from somewhere that they're actually doing a movie. And if that goes ahead and happens, then the spotlight on him is just going to be insane. And he's already making an ass of himself, excuse me, with these nonsense committees and these ridiculous investigations. So I don't see where he actually thinks he is improving, his reputation, I guess, as part of the Tea Party. Their reputation is just built on destroying and destruction and, causing chaos. Let's take a look at him and see what we can see. Okay. Sorry, this is sort of a rambling intro, but I did want to kind of just fill you in on the housekeeping stuff. All right. Tell me about Jim Jordan. Tell me about Jim Jordan. Tell me about Jim Jordan. We're starting off with the Four of Cups. Okay, so this is about him, um, just he sort of focused on like almost what he wants to focus on, and he's not really paying any attention to what's coming down the pike. And it's not that he's ignoring it, but again, it is, he just thinks that if he talks loud enough and aggressively enough, some of these issues are going to go away. And he would be mistaken. The magician sits in the past position, and this is concerning in as much as if you read this in reverse, this is about kind of a trickster. It's about things not being done the way they should be, events being, ignored or disregarded. And so he's standing there trying to justify something that is indefensible. So he's not going to win any significant support. Now that things have sort of started to culminate, and I'm not sure why. I don't know whether there was like some court case that was taking forever to get through the court system. I'm not sure what was going on. But now that it's been sort of identified now, you're going to see where things are starting to move faster. He's going to get more and more negative attention. And listen, it's not only going to be about the whole coaching deal. It's going to be about his juvenile and childish behavior on these committees. And, the Dems are actually doing a really good job. Every single one of those committees, they're talking about how stupid this is and what a waste of time it is. And why can't we deal with actually something that people care about? So he's going to keep getting hammered on that front. You've got the Seven of Cups here. His strategy right now into the foreseeable future is a playbook right out of Trump, right? Deny. What is it? Deny something and distract. I know you're all telling me it. You get my point, right? There's that strategy that goes on. And he really thinks that if he just sticks to his guns, it's somehow going to pass him by. It's like a little bit delusional here, not really paying attention to what's going on and, potentially what he could be up against. That's where he's at. He is sort of destined to not like the way this turns out. Maybe it's going to leave him a little brokenhearted. Maybe that's fair considering the number of young athletes that he disregarded. Okay. And ultimately, his final card is the devil. So, what you're talking about here is somebody who literally is living their life backwards. There's greed and he's power hungry and there's all of that kind of turmoil going on around him. And that's why he's being represented by the devil. For those of you who are new to my channel, this is my favorite way to talk about the devil. If you spell devil backwards, you get the word lived. If you spell evil backwards, you get the word live. Okay? And so very often when I see the devil card, it just is about somebody who is not following their path of higher intentions. They're not following, kind of what their better angel says that they should do. It's an energy of somebody who is doing things backwards and frankly, not at all, to their benefit, right? I mean, I think he probably had a crappy reputation before, but now that he's heading these committees, it's gone from the sublime to the ridiculous. All right, I want to take a look at Steve Bannon. The reason I want to do that is because he was just ordered by some court to pay $500,000 in back lawyers' fees. So guess what? Steve Bannon taking a page out of you-know-who's playbook. I'm just not going to pay the lawyers. Now, to be fair, he apparently already paid $375,000 or $385,000, and there's another $500,000 owing. So I'm sure that's chaffing at his bit. He's going to discover that he is in a significant amount of trouble when it comes to the events on and around January 6th. He is not someone, from what I can tell, he is not someone that Jack Smith is going to look to flip. Okay? So where does that put him? Person of interest? A target? I don't know. Okay. So here's the thing about Steve Bannon. He has a vision. He has a dream. It's kind of dark and kind of like authoritarian. But he has one. And he's convinced that this is the right thing to have. And that's why he spent all this time trying to, he said it all those years ago. He said, I was looking for the candidate who would promote the platform I want to promote it. And along came Donald Trump, and what a great fit he was. So this is, and then there was the whole, renting the monastery place in Italy and setting up some sort of a training camp or something for, I don't know. Like, he just has a different perspective on things. But this is the thing. He means it. He believes it. And it's very important for him that this dream be actualized or realized. The reality is that he can push and he can bully and he can do whatever. Ultimately, it didn't really end up working for him. And the fact that he was pardoned by Trump, and that's over the what is that, misappropriation of funds or something for that build the wall, you know, thing, because Trump had convinced everybody if they just sent in $10, they'd get the wall built. Okay. But this is the thing. That world, sort of as he knows it, has come to an end. It's come to a close. And now he's sitting there trying to figure out, literally, sort of like what comes next. So what he's doing is he's hanging on to what he has, whether that's finances, whether that is reputation, whether that is, the people who are in the war room. He's got his little radio show, it's not a radio show, it's a media show. I think it's called The War Room, actually. So he's just holding on. He's hanging on to what he can hang on to. There's definitely, I want to say regrets. He's very disappointed. First of all, he's very disappointed that he couldn't control Trump. But more than that, he's just disappointed that he can't seem to get his vision actualized. He's being hampered by financial issues. Whether he did not make the kind of money he anticipated making it, maybe he just spent it in the wrong way, but there's definitely a issue with his finances, and his finances not measuring up to his expectations. So he's going to attempt to try to find a new message or a new way to market himself. But I don't think it's going to do him that much good because, as I said, I don't think that he is going to be one of those ones that escapes Jack Smith. In some ways, he really is going to be at the mercy of the courts, of lawyers. He sure as hell has found out that he could get a pardon from Trump, but no one's paying his bills, basically. So that's kind of going on, and it feels as if it is really causing some sort of almost like instability. The ridiculous part about it is that he doesn't actually acknowledge the role he played in, bringing the world down, right? He doesn't see it. He sees that his vision is the right one, and that's really all that matters to him. And if he can piggyback onto Trump again, he's going to do that. He is building a cage around himself that I think he's going to find it difficult to extricate himself. He may have gotten away with the whole send me your money and we'll build the wall. But I don't think he's going to get away with his contribution to January 6th. And, he can't say he doesn't know stuff because he was on the one screaming, it's going to be wild. It's going to be wild. Be there. So he knows a lot. And for some reason, energetically, I don't feel like he is somebody that Jack Smith is going to need a lot of information from. And let's take a look at the former guy, shall we? So things are getting, tough. He's still doing well, apparently, in the polls. And listen, I know none of us want to go through another presidential run with him. I am not convinced that he's actually going to make it that far. But just remember this. Biden can beat him with his hands tied behind his back. That's important because honestly, the thing that we need to make sure happens is that the Dems secure all three levels of government and he can finish his agenda and his itinerary. And so I know we don't want that, but in some ways, if he's the nominee, it's the easy win for the Dems, okay? And frankly, even without him, the Republicans have done such a good job at pissing off like everybody that they got the moms upset, they got teachers upset about books that are getting banned, the women and the um whole collapse of Roe v. Wade, not cool. There is just the guns that just doesn't stop. There's so much going on that the Republicans are going to have a really, really hard time kind of messaging. And so they're not. They're talking about culture nonsense and, you know, crap like that. Donald Trump in particular, he's got court dates coming up. And he has to be living kind of in a place of perpetually waiting for the other shoe to drop. So, show me Trump now. Show me Trump now. Show me Trump now. Okay. So, mostly I'm sure his lawyers just wish he would shut up. He starts the reading off with both the King of Swords and the King of Wands. But he isn't either of these, right? He comes to me usually as either the King of Pentacles, the greedy king, or the Fool. This represents his lawyers. This represents the people around him. This represents those people who are trying to craft a defense, who are trying to help him, etc. The problem is that things are moving so fast, and more, he is starting to come to the conclusion that there is massive exposure coming his way. That bright light is going to shine on stuff he really doesn't want it shining on. And he's getting like, the more nervous he becomes, the more agitated he becomes, the harder the lawyers have it because he just spews. And what is it those lawyers, the talking head lawyers have said something about Trump is the prosecution's best witness. And it's true, right? Because he just can't be quiet. So he's going to continue to try to tell you that, what you hear with your ears isn't true and what you see with your eyes isn't true. He's leaning hard into the whole sort of I am the savior, I am a messiah. This is what the Christian fundamentalists want, and I'm going to do that and I'm going to be that. Meanwhile, he can't even figure out which way to hold a Bible. So he's going to continue to push the grift. Just as simple as that. Whatever he can grift to pad his pocket, that's where it's going. Apparently, one of his PACs is now funneling something like 10%, I think, of the donations. Now, see, I'm mixed up. I don't know if 10% of the donations are going to the actual PAC and the other 90% are going directly to Trump, or vice versa. But the reality is he's just going to keep on because he needs the money coming in. There's still stuff we don't know. And there's what's making him so crazy is he doesn't know what they do or don't know. He doesn't know what the Jacksonists and the Funny Willis and the Alvin Bragg. He doesn't quite know what exactly they have on him, and it's making him a little like squirrely because he can't control it. He's not going to disappear. He's not going to do the hermit thing, and sort of self-reflect and be quiet and still. But what this card is telling me is that more and more he feels isolated. He just doesn't feel that people are being loyal enough. He doesn't feel that they're fighting hard enough for him. And so this sense of isolation, honestly, is only going to amplify whatever sort of emotional or mental issues may be going on. Ultimately, he's got the Ten of Swords. Okay, so things aren't going well for him, and they're not going to go well for him. He's not going to step away from this presidential run. But I'm not sure he's going to make it to the nomination either. I am not a doctor, so I can't speak to whatever emotional issues or mental issues he's having or his just physical body. But I've said this several times before, is that, yes, it's absolutely true that Trump thrives in chaos, but it's chaos that he controls. And the reality is this situation is not one he is able to control. And I think that it's starting to take a toll on him. And I guess we shall see going forward how big a toll that takes. No. But the problems that are coming home to roost, they could not happen to a more deserving guy. I mean, it's just as simple as that, right? All right. Okay, that's what I know. For now, I will for sure see you next week. I'm hoping that I can get something out to you again by the end of the week, but I can't make any promises. This is going to be a tough week. All right. Thank you so much for your ongoing support. And don't forget to check out the conversation that went on between John and I on Aquarian Diary. Have a good week and take good care of yourselves. I'll see you really soon.